Hey singers, Jeff Mathena here with the Unhindered Voice in Nashville, Tennessee. And in the last video, I gave you some tips for how to warm up on your way to a worship rehearsal or a worship service. And in this video, I want to give you some tips on how to warm down your voice and bring the inflammation down in your vocal cords. Now, when your voice gets really tired, which is typically indicated by getting pitchy and just maybe losing your voice, losing tone, having more of a raspy tone. All of those are indicators that your voice is tired, and really more specifically, that the vocal cords are inflamed. And so the key to getting your voice back to a healthy place and really to a place where it's going to do what you want it to is to bring that inflammation down. Now, the number one supplement that I like to use is turmeric. You can take them in capsules. It's a spice that's commonly found in Indian cuisine and other cuisines, but it's a really highly used supplement for anybody that wants to bring down inflammation in their body. And so it's actually really helpful for singers. And I take it anytime that my voice is tired, or I'll take it preemptively if I know that I'm going to have like a heavy vocal day. And sometimes I'll even take it after like going to the gym or something like that, just because it's so good for bringing down that inflammation. And I also want to coach you through an exercise that I like to do just to relax my own voice and to relax the voice of my clients. So how this exercise goes is just like this. Oh yeah. I'll do it again. Oh yeah. Now how you're going to do this is first you're going to pronounce the word or, O-A-R, like what you row a boat with. And when you pronounce a hard American R, notice that your tongue curls back in your mouth. So what I want you to do is slightly curl your tongue back, and instead of pronouncing an R, pronounce an ooh. And so it ends up being the exact opposite as ew, E-W, ew. It's ooh. So you'll end up with this sort of drop in your throat and this slight feeling of openness. Then you start up in your head voice. Doesn't really matter where, as long as you're getting kind of that lift into your head register on a glottal stroke. A glottal stroke is the opposite of an H. So as opposed to who, it's ooh. Ooh, there's sort of that grip and then release into that note. So when you put all that together, you curl your tongue back. You'll feel your jaw drop and that depth in your throat, and you hit that high note and say, ooh, yeah. Okay, so that's the first step, is just getting the onset of that tone, and that's how you do it. The second thing I want to tell you in order to do this exercise correctly is let your voice flip. So I know that so many singers put so much energy into avoiding the flip, and really I could say so much about just that alone, about how to fix the flip, how to actually fix the flip rather than just simply getting better at avoiding it. But for the purposes of this exercise and the purposes of trying to keep your voice relaxed, I want you to allow your voice to flip. I don't want you to be holding on to head voice or trying to grab the note with chest voice, which would make it sound like this. Ooh, yeah, right? We don't want that. And we don't want, ooh, yeah, where you're reaching for it. Ooh, yeah. And so you could hear that audible flip in my voice that I actually let out intentionally just to show you it's not a bad thing, and it's actually a good thing when doing this exercise. So that's the second thing. The last thing is I want you to drop into something called vocal fry at the bottom of this exercise. Now, vocal fry is something that a lot of teachers actually teach against. They tell you that it's unhealthy for your voice. And I think it all depends on what you actually mean by vocal fry. So what I mean by vocal fry is this low, rumbly coordination in your voice that is actually what you kind of tend to naturally do when you first wake up in the morning. So when you first wake up in the morning, you don't want to get out of bed and you kind of groan, you might say, or that oh yeah. It is completely relaxed. There's hardly any airflow at all, and it actually feels kind of good on your vocal cords. It's not a grind. It's not, oh yeah. It's not that. It's oh yeah. Oh yeah. And what you'll notice is when your cords are inflamed, it's actually really difficult to find vocal fry. And that's because vocal fry only works when your vocal cords are relaxed. So by looking for vocal fry, what you're doing effectively is telling your vocal cords that you want them to be relaxed at the end of every slide. So again, you putting those three ideas together, you end up saying, ooh, yeah. That attack, the flip, and then dropping into vocal fry. Don't keep track of what notes you're starting on. Don't really track anything. All you're doing is trying to do this over and over and over again until you start to feel that inflammation go down. You feel your voice start to relax. And this is going to be useful anytime that you are trying to bring that inflammation down. So like I said, it could be in the middle of a worship service. It could be after worship service. It could be at the end of the day or the end of the weekend. And by the way, I definitely recommend doing this before you go to bed if you know that your voice is really inflamed, because it's going to help you get more out of your sleep and your vocal rest. It's actually going to help bring your voice back faster if you can get that inflammation down before you actually go into a period of rest. So I hope that this tip is helpful and that it helps you get your voice back to a healthy place faster. And ultimately, the best tip I could give you is to learn how to sing in a way that doesn't actually bring about that inflammation in the first place. But the reality is, all of us end up in a place at some point where we have overworked our voice, whether through strain or just from heavy usage. And when that happens, this exercise will help.